much. Van McCall, Penn Financial Group. All right, now to the bailout of GM Chevy Volt that could be coming. You hear about this? Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid is expected to push a vote next month to give a $4 billion boost to natural gas and electric cars. The Volt is certainly among them. Reid stalling that vote today in the hopes of reaching a sweeter deal with Republicans. Chris Horner says there is nothing sweet about it. He's with the Competitive Enterprise Institute. What do you make of this, Chris?
More of the same, sadly. We very slow learners in Washington. The Volt is the windmill of the automotive industry. It wouldn't exist without handouts from the taxpayer through the government. It won't exist in the future without handouts and preferences. Therefore, the only way to keep the bubble inflated, and that's what the Volt and windmill industries are bubbles. The only way to keep the bubble inflated, just like with the housing bubble, is continue pumping more air or taxpayer money into it until it bursts. Bubbles burst. The Volt is a bubble, as are the windmills. The Volt's the windmill of the automotive industry. So sadly, Senator Reid believes he can find some deal on this. And sadly, history indicates he's probably got reason for optimism.
Well, I'm wondering if he should just let the market have its way. If Motor Trend magazine says this is their car of the year, I don't understand how a car you plug in could be anyone's car of the year, but that's a separate issue. That maybe the market will decide its success, and Harry can just sit on his hands. He doesn't need to do anything. The market will speak for itself and decide whether this is, half the big deal he thinks it is.
Hopefully Harry Reid won't go down the list of past Motor Trend Car of the Year award winners and realize that the market's not going to step in.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Exactly. They've had some turkeys in that, haven't they?
Right. There one particular AMC vehicle, the K car, and so on, other winners. Right. The market will not allow the Volt to survive. The Volt would not survive without the market. It gets a $7,500 taxpayer handout just to buy it. It shares parts and, by the way, performance with another Chevy vehicle that sells for $16 and change. It's a gesture. It's a curb bobble for the upper middle class. And there's not a sufficient market for that. That's why it's such a wonderful technological innovation. It requires federal handouts and mandates to exist.
I think it's something more basic.
Let's let the poor dears compete.
I know, and you're a genius in this stuff, Chris. But I always look at this as any car you have to plug in is risky, because I can just picture couples. I don't mean to be, saying that this is something that could lead to divorce, but can you imagine? They get up in the morning, I thought you plugged it in, honey. No, I thought you plugged it in, honey. I mean, that's a disaster in the making. But leaving that aside.
There's something more.
Go ahead.
Well, real quickly, Neil, there's a very important point here, and it's not that you'll leave the house and say, I forgot something. Was it, did I forget to unplug the toaster? Did you forget to plug in the car? We're also declaring war on the electricity infrastructure and the electricity production industry at the same time, in the name of the same agenda that they're underwriting the plug-in vehicle for. Now, I know a lot of people realize that electricity might not come from the wall, but in Washington, they're not so sure about that. So moving the transport sector onto an electricity infrastructure that you're also declaring war on. And by the way, the Reliability Council has just said we're facing blackouts. These people don't, again, they're very slow learners, but they don't seem to be very big thinkers. You're pushing you're pushing the whole system over a cliff, sadly, at great expense to us. I agree with you. Let the market work. Let the poor dears compete. I think we'd be rid of the Volt very quickly.
All right, Chris Horner, thank you very much. Good seeing you again.